Okay, so for the foundation certificate, there are 6 different units. First one, developing yourself as an effective practitioner, as the name suggests, is about understanding what's required from you as an HR practitioner, what skills and knowledge you should have, and looks at helping you to identify what you might need and how you would go about achieving that. The assessment for that focuses on a couple of different things. You will have a written assessment which will focus on the professional standards set by CIPD. You will need to carry out a self-assessment against their standards and produce a development plan of what you want to achieve across the year, and then also a learning record or a log of what you've learned and how you've developed across the year while you're doing your studies. In addition, you will also have a written assessment that is based around about the concept of customer service, looking at how HR can deliver a good quality service to its customers, staff, managers, etc. Moving on to the second unit, understanding organisations in the context of HR is probably one of the more difficult units for students. You're producing, I think it's a 1,500 word report, but you're certainly producing about 1,500 words of a written assessment here. Understanding organisations is the one unit that's moving away from HR. You're looking at how your organisation operates, what it's trying to achieve. So it's having a really, really good understanding of your own organisation, what its products are, who the customers are, what problems the organisation might face. And you're also looking at the external environment, thinking how what's happening in society, what's happening in the world can impact on your organisation. So if you just think, for example, how the coronavirus is impacting on your organisations, how it's impacting on everything we're doing at the moment, going back last year, the year before, what was the impact of Brexit? So you can be looking at these sorts of things and thinking about how do they impact on your organisation, how's your company having to respond to that, but also then thinking, how does HR support that? How does HR make sure that your organisation can cope and respond to the changes that are taking place? Recording, analysing and using HR information is got 2 different aspects to it, and from that point, 2 quite distinct assessments as well. So the first one's looking at what information HR needs to gather, where does it get that information, what does it do with it, and how do you store it? How do you make sure you're keeping it safe? And then linked to that, looking at the legislation surrounding the storage of HR information. So looking at the GDPR, looking at freedom of information, and you'll have a written assessment. It's a series of questions, usually asking you questions around about these topics. The second aspect of this unit is being able to identify some information or some data and being able to analyse that. So for example, if you were to look at your absence records across a period of a year, are you able to see any particular patterns or trends? Does it vary depending on the month of the year? Does it vary depending on department? So you're looking for trends, patterns, perhaps some ambiguity, and you're drawing out that information and you're going to be writing a little report about that. Delivering learning and development activities. You are learning about training and development within the workplace, looking at some theories round about that, but the key part of your assessment is that you will be learning how to design training and then to deliver it. I think you also look a little bit at how to evaluate training afterwards as well. So that is a skills assessment where you are identifying a topic. Doesn't have to be HR related, doesn't have to be work related. Students previously in previous years have picked all sorts of different topics, but you're delivering a short training course to the rest of your classmates. And then after that, you have to write a reflective statement about what went well, what didn't, what have you learned from it, what did you enjoy, what did you not enjoy, why not, those sorts of things. Resourcing talent is the recruitment and selection unit. So you're looking at some of the factors that contribute to how easy or how difficult it might be to attract and recruit staff. Then thinking about how do you actually do that? How do you advertise? How do you promote? What are the different methodologies we can use? Then through to carrying out a recruitment interview, the full preparation, writing your job advert, writing the job description, person specification, sifting through application forms, deciding who to interview, working as a panel, carrying out the interview, making a decision about who to appoint, and then the final part of that, I think there's a short written assessment round about the induction process as well. So that's resourcing talent. Again, another skills assessment. And the final assessment, the final unit rather, performance and reward management. Looking at performance management, looking at appraisals, but you also look at some different motivational theories, how we use rewards to motivate employees to get the most out of them. So you do have a written assessment, I think, round about that aspect of things, but there is also a skills element here where you are working with someone else in the class to conduct a performance appraisal. And that's the skills assessment, is carrying out a performance appraisal. I hope that has given you an overview of what's involved in the foundation course, but again, if you do have any queries, please don't hesitate to ask us during your interview.